Hello and welcome. Matthew here again. We are at Nations Cup round 19, Monza Group 3. As you see, I qualified 5th, and as you can imagine, Monza with a bunch of fast drivers, a bunch of fast cars, it's going to be messy. Now, it should be clean. But who can control themselves into the first corner around here, honestly? Turns out, Makosi can't. And creates a bus stop. And it's all over the place. So, quite a hectic start. Makosi got pole with a brilliant time, 47.8 in the SLS. Mine was a 48.5 on the first flyer, like my banker lap. And then I messed up the rest of it and failed to improve. So I ended up 5th. And we had 3 Nissans. Was it 3 Nissans? No, Adam in the Mustang. And 2 other Nissans in between. All doing low 48s for qualifying. So we'll just jump back to the start and see what happened. See it from my perspective first. From what I can tell from back here, Sai got a run, as you can imagine. Second place gets a run on first place. And then goes into the corner just ahead of Nick. Nick understeers into him, and then everybody backs up. I slow right down. I get tapped from behind, trying to avoid everybody. Mint gets spun by Nick. Nick was actually pushed off by Mint as a final tap, but the game punished Adam, who's just up ahead at the moment in second. Blitz got ahead of me, but I get a draft and run and take the inside and just manage to hit the chicane just fine. So I get into third, and I knew Adam had a 5-second penalty. No fault of his own really, but he got punished, and I knew he was out. So then it was just a matter of me chasing down Sai up ahead. So from Makosi's point of view, so from what I've watched, he brakes early, or brakes on time, lifts off the brakes, because I imagine he thought he was a bit too early on them, and then puts them on again, but by that stage it was too late. He pushes Sidog across the chicane. Sidog doesn't get a penalty because he was pushed off the track. I don't believe Makosi got a penalty because he also got pushed off the track, and Adam hit him. And it's really awkward. I don't know how the game worked it out. I don't know. If anything, Makosi should have got the penalty for it. Adam, I don't know how he gets it. Like, he does tap Makosi here. You'll watch this. Tap there. But it's actually Mint who does a final push and pushes Makosi off the track. But Adam's awarded a penalty here for 5 seconds, which is what you get for knocking somebody off. But what a messy first corner. Kind of exciting for me though, starting 5th and ending up 2nd by the end of the lap. We're pretty good. Pretty happy with that. But here we go with Mint. But just with Makosi basically spinning and stopping in the middle of the track, everybody else stops. See, this tap that pushes Makosi off. And then Makosi rejoins. A weird tap kind of stops Mint in his tracks and really punishes him, puts him down to 12th. Really bizarre. Now I can only imagine that is because we stay on board with Mint. If we do it from this view, I can only imagine because Makosi doesn't live in Australia, so he's got a bit of lag, or a bit more lag than most Australian New Zealanders. Thank you. Pronunciation. So I think that's what causes the weird effect. You'll see it here. Just stops and bounces him. It looks like a lag bounce. So I imagine just his location in the world has caused that to be a bit harsher than what it should have been. But anyway, I was lucky to squeeze my way up the inside of Blitz and take him going into that corner there to give myself third for the meantime, and then ultimately second when Adam takes his penalty. End of lap 2, going into lap 3, we just rejoined GDR Freak, Jordster and Noble. Just a minor incident here. Noble gets a good run, Jordster was going to go past. Noble just misjudges his braking a bit, maybe a little bit more than a bit, and nudges Jordster off. Gets a good drive out of that corner. This is a little bit unfair, I think, that he's pushed him out of the way and now going to take his position. But the game actually didn't punish him for this, I don't believe. So for whatever reason he gets away with it. A bit surprising. But really had a good position going into this corner and just could hold the inside line. And there's not a lot Jordster could do about it. So not really the fairest, but them's the break sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky. And it looks like it worked out in Noble's favour this time. So just to catch up, lap 4. I have finally caught on, or nearly caught on to the back of Sidog. I think we're about 8 tenths apart at this point, and he peels off into the pits. I decided to go one more lap. My theory was, the risk was if you go pit now, you come out in traffic. Any time you may gain by being on softer tyres or newer tyres, you may lose by being stuck in traffic. So that was my theory of going one more lap. I knew it was going to cost me about a second. But then again, he had to take the pain and go 5 laps this time. And the way I was catching him at the end, I just wondered if I had a bit better tyre wear. And that was one of the reasons with the SLS I felt it had a little bit better tyre wear, and it was a bit friendlier out of the long right corners like the Lesmos and Parabolica. You could get onto the power a bit better with the SLS, so I was just trying to use that to my advantage and try to build, or try to go as fast as I could while saving a bit of fuel. So just jumping back to Sidog, he does come out in 11th. Comes out in fairly clear traffic, especially if the traffic moves out of the way. So didn't really affect him at all. Nick, I believe, was going a bit longer with the Ford just up ahead, but he's still 2 seconds up the road, 3 seconds up the road. So didn't really affect Sai at all, taking that 4th lap pit stop. I guess I could have gone with him as I was catching him at the time, and I would have been, you know, stayed within a second. But I guess I made my bed and went for another lap. So rejoining lap 6, you see Sidog has made it past. He's about 2 seconds ahead at this stage, so I'd lost about a second or 1.2 seconds in the pit stop just across that one lap. Didn't have a bad lap, but it just shows the advantage of, well, no traffic for a start and newer tyres, and he made good use of them, obviously. I was a bit afraid I was going to get held up by Nick, but I catch him down this straight, so not too much of a problem. I did lose, I think, a little bit of time, but I think that was more on my driving rather than Nick doing anything, as you saw. So also lap 6, GDR Freak coming out of the pits and emerges into a battle, gets very tight down at the chicane. A little bit sideways, but unfortunately gets just knocked off by Mint then, just in the middle of all of that. A real shame, because GDR was doing quite well, holding on to 4th early on, or 3rd place at one stage, quite comfortably. So a real shame for his race to go that way. We'll jump back and watch from Mint's perspective, because it gets really tight. Here we are. So Mint's obviously got a bit of a run beside Bradley to the left. He's in this end, Bradley's in the Ford. These two come out of the pits and he's got this gap to feed himself into. Just nowhere to go. Brakes a bit earlier. Gets all a bit messy. The two up boys get really close and it just all sort of stops all of a sudden in front of Mint. So Mint didn't have much time to react. and it's very easy just to, you know, be a few feet out from your braking or being able to react and brake, and you're knocking somebody off by accident. Once again, that first chicane just causing accidents, creating victims. Nicely placed there, Noble. Good defending into turn 2. Second chicane, I mean. So just entering lap 9 now. Final lap. I'd slowly caught Side Dog over the previous lap. I am within a second, or just on a second to him. You see Nick Mikosian first, just up ahead. He did a no stop, saved his fuel, kept out of trouble after the first lap, and was about 5-6 seconds going into this lap ahead of us. So he'd run paced himself really well, done a really good job. It was just up to me to try to catch Side Dog on this final lap and make an overtake. So I was pushing. I knew Side Dog was on 5 lap old tyres and I had 1 lap advantage, and with the SLS being a bit better on tyres, or at least between myself and Si, I was a little bit better on tyres than him. I thought I might be able to have him. I was just relying on a good run. Lesmo 2, Ascari, or the Parabolica. I didn't get as good of a drive off Lesmo 2 as I wanted. Didn't get a great run down here. The Nissan's still a little bit faster in a straight line, so he still held a bit of an advantage. I was going to try to position my car nicely through here to try to get a good run onto the last long straight. A little bit wide at the apex, and I was blind going through that left-hander. I wasn't quite blind, but it was very difficult to pick out the apex. So once again, I lost out a little bit, and that's probably what cost me. Just not hitting that apex right and not seeing that last left-hander. Good drive out of here, good grip. The SLS was really good through Parabolica, but not enough. And the Nissan's got really good pull at this point, and nothing I can do about it. Start-finish line's too close, and he keeps second. I get third, and Nick takes a win. Jordster and Mint recovers to 5th, which is really good going from Mint, considering how far down he was early on. So I'm just going to jump back. This is my perspective, just to show you what I meant by being blind. It's very hard. You've really got to pick out that last apex, because if you cut it too much, you get a penalty. So I was trying to avoid the cut. I could have taken more than I did, and I lifted more because I couldn't see the apex, and that just cost me the run. I lost about a 10th in the straight line, but until the draft caught me back up and I was starting to catch up again. But by then the damage was done. Braked really late, maybe too late for that corner. Just trying to be really aggressive, but I guess my mistakes came earlier in the lap. All in all, really good race, really enjoyed it. I do like Monza, do like racing around Monza. Can be quite tactical. It's never really straightforward. You know, some tracks, if you're faster than an opponent, you're just going to pull away and it's going to be, you know, easy. Where Monza, it really mixes up the field, especially with first corner incidents like we had today. So a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to the last round of this stage, which will be taking place. Not that I can remember. It's going to be taking place somewhere on a track with some cars. Oh, it's Yamagiwa N500. I knew that. So until then, thank you for watching. We'll see you then.